Hey, what's up guys? Today in this video, we are going to look at how to create a dynamic form in React with Formik. What do we mean by a dynamic form? So basically in this form, what we will be able to do is add multiple data of same type again and again. We will be able to add fields or remove fields so that we are able to add n number of entries into our database. So what does that exactly mean? Well, let me show you how. So here is this form where if you see, I have three fields over here. Now, obviously I have some logic behind it, but basically it acts as a field to add the capture the name, age, email address. But the main catch over here is I am able to add as many fields as I want, and I can even remove them and then control how many entries do I want to add. So just try and understand if you have some kind of a form where, like if you guys have ever used IRCTC, you will see that you are able to add passengers that needs to be added to the ticket. So you add one passenger name and then you add more, add one more, right? And you go like this. So this is something very similar. So we will do even the validations where, obviously the yup package will come into picture and we will be able to validate the data before actually hitting the server and other complexities around this. So without wasting much time, let's get started. So let's get started with creating the form inside a page. So we can go into our source code and first of all, inside this next project, right, which I have. So this project generally doesn't have too many things. I am just playing around with an idea that I have about a side project that I was working on, and that's when this dynamic form requirement came in. Let's create a test page, test.tsx. We need to return some JSX. So this is the bare minimum that I need to do. I'll have to export that, export default this thing. And why don't we also type hint this being a next page, just as per hygiene check. Now in here we will create our form. So why don't we go inside the components and let's say we create one dynamic form.tsx and we have this. Okay, this is going to be a React functional component, so we should add that as well. Now we can import that form over here. So that's dynamic form for you. Okay, this is done. Now, the typical format which I always follow is we have the page and the form is an individual component in itself. So that we have done. Now, the first thing that we will have to do is obviously create a Formik form. So we'll get rid of the div and do something like Formik. We'll open the Formik tag. Now, the Formik tag does require a few things. So one is obviously initial values, which is an object. So why don't we set that as initial values? Then the next thing is obviously, because this is a form, we need the onSubmit. So this is going to be a function. Why don't we copy that and set it over here? So these two things are here and our Formik form component is complete. Obviously right now it will not give us anything. The page name is test, right? But we should know, even now we will not see the form tag. What we will have to do is, let's just say over here, this is where we will render our form. Okay, form from Formik, and let's just say we have field name is summary and ID is summary, label HTML for summary. Basic stuff, right? Now what happens is Formik will give us certain things which we can destructure from. So for example, errors, touched, stuff like that. So we will take care of them. We will need them, but right now I'm just adding this form field, and let's see, do we have something in place? We do. Okay, the field looks horrible because this is a Tailwind project and basically I haven't done that formatting. So just so that we understand that there is a text field, border padding, sorry, P4 or maybe 2, and that should be enough for us to get started with. Okay, so we have this form. Now in here, this is a typical Formik form. We haven't done anything out of the ordinary. But then where do we get the dynamic field? That's where we use the Formik's field array feature to get the dynamic field in place. So let's see how we do that. So let's just say our dynamic form allows us to add employee information one after the other, right? That is one basic use case I can think of. So to do that, what we can do is let's just have a div with some basic separation in place. And right, so with that in place, I think I'm spending too much time thinking about the look and feel. Field array is what we are trying to look at. Okay, this is a self-closing tag. It requires a name, obviously, because Formik, what it does is it maps your initial values with the name of the fields. So we already have something called a summary. So why don't we add that as an empty field? Okay, we will get values which is of type, okay, maybe we'll do that later, console.log values like so. Typically we will need an interface. I like to do that, so why don't we have summary which is of type string. Now just bear with me. And then employee is going to be an object. It's an array of object where we have name as string, comma, age as number, and email as string as well. Okay, so what we are saying is the initial values will also be of type I value, which we have defined over here. So basically we have employees as this, and over here as well I have I value. Okay, so now at least what I can do is if I open the console and type something in, this is going to be a problem. Okay, let's say this is employees, refresh. Right now it is perfect because we get the summary which we have typed over here. Employees is obviously an empty array, and the other thing which we need to do is tell what needs to be rendered inside the field array. So to render, let's say we have this set of employees, right, where I have object as John Doe and Jane Doe. Okay, so the field array takes one prop which is render, where we need to return some JSX which is going to be the actual form. So let me first show you that this is the field array. This does render. Let's go over here. Right, this is where we render our form, and this is the field array. So where are we saying this is the form? Right, this is it. So we can get rid of this, and we have the field array being rendered from here. But this is happening only once. Now we have values where we have multiple. So what I can do is, let me see, I think this is where we, again, my auto hint is On VS Code, the recent version is taking some time for some weird reason. It gets into that strange loop. Okay, so we get the values. What we can do over here is, let's just have this values dot employees dot, because that's an array, we get the map function. So we can do employee and then we return what? Return the employee dot name, just for demo purpose, and we will see that we are able to get this. So things are in place. Now this entire thing over here will repeat. Okay, what that means is, let's just say if we have a field, a Formik thing called field, where ID is equal to, we have employees dot, then we have the index. Okay, we need the index over here. Let me see, how do I get the index over here? I should get the index over here. Let me just put that in. I have no idea what happened to the autocomplete. It is going literally crazy. Let me see if that works now. No, still doesn't. Okay, so I have employees dot index dot, let's say this field is for the name, so we will have this similar thing for the name attribute. And let's see, can you see we have these two things? Obviously there's an error. Each child in a list should have a unique name, which is fine. We will add that. Key equals index. That should solve the problem. And let me add the class name, just so that we know that there is something in that field, right? So we have this. And as you can see, if I added a third one, third row, right? We have to refresh for now, but it does give you the form field. So basically what I am saying is, this employees array is dictating what comes in the form. Okay, so we will do a little bit of CSS thing, flex column. I think that should allow me to get things in place. Yes, that is working. We have two more fields. One is age, right? And what I'm thinking is, we have age, we have name, and we will have third one, which is email. Now all of them will have the same index, right? So that is going to be a problem. I feel I need to change that. Okay, and index dash name, age, email. That is something which will ensure that the uniqueness remains there. And the last thing is obviously margin bottom 8, so that we have this nice grouping of things over here. Okay, why is it failing even now? Each child in a list should have a unique key. Okay, and check the render method inside here. Right, I think it is complaining not because of the field. It has a problem here, so I can simply put it over here and should be happy with that. Yeah, okay, this is in place. Now we have a looping going on. As you can see, we have 3 fields which are displayed over here. using the basic loop. Now, what if we want to add a new field? How do we do that? Let's just see. So we have this thing. The add button, right, should be outside the how do you say? So let me see first. Insert. Wow, this is great. I mean, I'm not getting the hint even now. Although, what happened? Let's see. Insert, right? Okay, that was my bad. Okay, I had to destructure it. I was not doing it. So we get two methods from field array. One is insert. Now, which basically means that button should be somewhere within this div. Otherwise, we'll not get that thing with that function. So this is of type button class. Oops. Name will be shadow, rounded, border p4, add field. Okay, let's see. Right, we have this. Let me put this on this side. Get a smaller object and let's work with that. So in this button, what we are saying is on click. Okay, whatever is the event. Let's get that thing out of the picture. But we want to insert a new thing. How does the insert work? It takes the index and value. So we pass the index, which we should already have. We do. Okay, cannot find this. Oh, no. This is not the index. What will happen is we are inserting, right? So it has to be values.employees.length plus 1. That should work. And the value is of type iValue. I'm just type hinting it. So, it doesn't work, is it? Okay, let's get rid of that. Name is empty. Age is, it's a number, right? We keep it at 0 and maybe 20. And the email is empty. So with this, what is going to happen is, let me refresh. Can you see? I get more fields. I can do stuff. So I have jando@gmail.com. Perfect. And if I hit submit, which is not working anymore, why is it not doing that? Maybe I'll add a button, a submit button. Form is here. So button type submit and it says save. And if I'm lucky, yep, I don't need to refresh. And can you see all the three things are available here? Okay. Now, what have we done? We have a form where we can have basic forms in place. So the summary, you can pretty much over here have a div handling the basic stuff, and then field as text area. Name is what? Summary. So we have this, and if I now hit save, can you see? I get this summary, which is a very standard thing to do. And I'm also getting the employees. Now, the only piece before we move into the validation is removing of these fields. Because if we insert, it is a required thing that we should be able to remove as well. So one more button, type button, class name should be, what do we have, rounded again, shadow border, okay, and p2 remove bg red 500, something like that, basic stuff. And let's be happy with this. And on click of this button, what are we supposed to do? Let's just get that event in place. Basic hygiene check. We call the remove function. What does it take? It takes the index, and at this point we will get the index because we are inside the loop. We can do it this line, right? So we are inside the loop of the values.employee. So if you see, the insert is outside of that loop. Where can I close that loop? Yeah. So the insert is over here, whereas the remove is inside the loop. And that's how the remove button is available to all three, right? So if I add one more test, something like this, I remove, it goes away. I add Jane test, right? I do save. It shows me the array with those two things. I remove the first one. I hit save. Let's just see. We have Jane Doe. So the second one becomes the only one. John Doe goes away. So as you can see, so far, what we have covered is a basic form where we are able to add fields dynamically. We're able to handle the submit. We are able to add. We are able to remove stuff in the field. And that's quite interesting, right? So now the last piece which I'm going to cover is the validation. So for the validation, the first thing is we require a library called yup. Now I already have that. So we will first import that. Import star as yup from yup. Okay, this is in place. Now, what I generally prefer is that you create a schema file and export that thing. So you do something like export constant. There's just a dynamic form schema is a constant, is an object. Okay, and you create the entire schema in a new file and you just import it. But for the demo purpose, I will keep everything in here. So the first thing that we do is we define that summary is yup dot no, this thing is a yup object, and we are defining the shape of that object. Okay, now that thing has summary, which is yup dot string and required. So suddenly we have a validation schema. With this, we can, in a Formik tag, say validation schema is the object that we just defined. And now if I go to my form, add this, try to save, can you see the console is not coming? Okay, I'm literally trying to hit the submit button and try and get that, but the console is not happening. Why? Because this field is empty. Now if I type something and if I hit save, this thing is coming. But we are only validating this field. We haven't yet validated these, right? So how do we do that? In here, that's pretty straightforward actually. So we have employees, which is again a yup dot array of, and we say that this is again a yup object, and the shape of that object is something like name which is yup.string required age is number. Oops. Number. Okay, and let's just say email is dot string required email, like so. Okay, this is done. Obviously, still my form will not submit. This one will, ideally, if I fill this out, hit save. Can you see this goes through because the information over here is correct. If I now try to hit enter, I hit save, nothing works because this field is not valid, but we are not showing the error message. How do we do that? Again, pretty straightforward. There is a way. There's an error message component, if I'm not wrong. Let me see. Error message component is available. What does it take? It takes the name, which is great because now basically what I can do is copy this, take it here, copy this, take it here, and this is just the email, right? Now obviously I have done one small mistake. Yep. So these are not text red thing. I can add class name and do text red 700. Let me just quickly add that. Doesn't look good even though it's a tutorial. So that's that. Come on, add field, save. Wow, it didn't take the red color. Why? Text red, the name is required. Doesn't it take the, what do you say? The error field doesn't take the class, is it? I don't know. Okay, we'll have to see, but at least I'm able to show the error. So that was the primary intention. I don't know why this is not taking the red color, something which we can look at later. But yeah, the error message is a bit odd. It says employee 1 name is required field. That we can control, definitely. We can say name is required. Name should be string. So basically what is happening is the error message is being displayed, right? So, okay, string is string, fine. Required. Email is required. And let's just say put a valid email, something like that. Now let's try out these conditions. So first of all, we have this, we have this. It says put the valid email, goes away, says name is required. Okay, this we should have put some error message, but you get the point, right? Now it will not allow us to submit, but the moment I do something like this with 20 and we fill in this as well, we hit save, we get the array. So as you understand, with this entire thing, we have covered quite a few things. We created a form. We, using the field array, added a dynamic field to the form. Then we saw how we can add fields, remove fields, and finally, we added our validation as well. So this is what I wanted to cover in this video. This is part of the small project that I was working, and the requirement came in from there. So let me know what you think about this feature and how you have implemented or you are going to implement this. Write in the comments below. If you like this video, do click on the thumbs up icon and don't forget to subscribe to my channel.